Hello scholars, welcome. Mr. Hinkle here. In this lecture we are going to talk about animals that exist in the benthic environment and different communities that form within these specific areas in the marine environment. So our objective is to introduce benthic communities and discuss basic characteristics of what and how and where they live. So benthic means bottom. Benthos are organisms that exist in the bottom of the ocean or on the sea floor. So benthic communities are communities that occur at the bottom of a body of water, and these groups interact with each other on, near, or under the actual sea floor. Here we can see a benthic community where you have a whole slew of different types of organisms that exist. Some sea stars right here kind of highlighting, showing the way, but we have organisms under the water. It's a low tide, organisms on top of the rocks, all interacting with one another, forming these unique ecosystems. So they're vital components that contribute to the cycling of nutrients, to the stability of sediment, and the flow of energy. This is where most organisms in the ocean live, in the benthic environment, and they provide indicators of ecosystem health and also illuminate insights to our changing ocean environment through the effects of current practices that are happening. So most animals that live in the benthic environment are invertebrates, which are animals without backbones. Now, an animal is a class of organisms that eats other organisms for energy, also known as a heterotroph. Does not produce its own energy, but consumes other animals or other organisms, that is, because it could be plants, for energy. And these animals of the benthic environment feed on other benthic organisms, on pelagic organisms, and then also on decaying matter that exists within the water column. Our distribution of benthic organisms, so the ocean is big. Let's draw our marine provinces. We've got land, continental shelf, continental slope, continental rise to the deep ocean basin, mid-ocean ridge, and then back to the other side. The ocean is big. It's vast. In fact, 71% of Earth's surface is covered by water. The other 29% is covered by land. So mostly ocean. Now, in this voluminous, expansive ocean, most of the marine species live in the benthic environment. In fact, about 98% of the known 240,000 species live on the ocean floor. And of that, it is mainly on continental shelves, which we're going to draw some critters right here on the continental shelf. So why is that? With this great big ocean, why is most marine life here in the continental margins? Well, for a couple reasons. Benthic organisms need to eat other organisms, and the main source of food is going to be marine phytoplankton. Primary productivity occurs mostly in coastal areas because this is the location where you have sun and we'll do this, nutrients that meet together through the processes of upwelling and photosynthesis to create new organic matter, which forms the basis of marine food webs. So that is primary productivity in a nutshell. Also, in these environments, you have waves onshore and you have intertidal zonation, which creates environmental pressure that leads to species diversification, giving us the majority of different types of species existing in nearshore marine benthic environments. Okay, so this is why we have such a great diversity of marine species that exist in benthic environments. If we look to a map of the world, here we go, we see exactly that. So oceanic benthic biomass, purple is going to be greater than the light blue, and we see purple occurring on these continental margins, which is related to oceanic circulation that has an influence on primary productivity. Animals exist where there is food. Food in the ocean is created through primary production or the net or the generation of new organic material from photosynthesis by our primary producers. Okay, so this is the distribution of benthic biomass. Now we can think about the types of habitats where benthic organisms are going to exist. So if we look at our basic model of the ocean, we have where the land meets the sea, and the direct interface is called the shoreline. And the shoreline moves every single day. It moves up and it moves down. It goes to high tide and it goes to low tide because of the influence of gravity of the sun and the moon and Earth. And the pulling of Earth's oceanic water in the direction of those gravitational forces, creating lunar bulges, tidal bulges. This is how and why we have tides. Please see my tides lecture. But here we have near shore where there are tides, giving us two specific types. We've got rocky shores and we have sediment-covered shores. Basically, you could have bare rocks exposed, or it can be covered with sand, dirt, or sediment. That's going to be decided by the availability and provenance of the local materials. When we move a little bit offshore, still on continental margins, but completely submerged, now we have a shallow offshore community. Here we're going to find kelp forests. We will also find coral reefs. And then we move a little bit further out into the deep ocean basin, where we have unique habitats mainly located around hydrothermal vents. So these are our 4 specific benthic habitats. Let's look at it. Organisms that live underneath the surface, that burrow into the sediment, are called infauna, kind of like they live in the sand. And organisms that live on top of the surface are called epifauna, kind of like the epidermis of our body is our skin. So this gives us unique marine adaptations, strategies for feeding, strategies for survival of these various organisms. We move a little bit further out, kelp forests, coral, and then we go out into the deep ocean basin, where the interaction of seawater and the ocean floor and magma that superheats this water, creating hydrothermal vents, you can see my lecture on that one, supports very unique communities of organisms, giant tube worms, giant clams. In these deep sea environments, there is no sunlight, so there is no photosynthesis. So in place of that, we have a primary productivity mechanism called chemosynthesis, where new organic matter feeds off of the chemicals, the hydrogen sulfide that's being emitted through these hydrothermal vents. Pretty cool, really awesome. A recent discovery by the submersible Alvin in 1977. Thank you, Alvin. So, what do we have here? We have animals of the benthic environment that live in unique habitats, rocky or sediment-covered nearshore habitats, offshore habitats, or deep sea habitats. And these various habitats support a wide range of benthic organisms that have adapted to the selective pressures of those specific unique habitats. This is Benthic Organisms. Thank you so much, and I'll see you again.